All right, I'm ready.
It's Maxwell on the beat. This is Maxwell Production.
One.
Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Israel. Welcome back to Bible Basics class. The water for tuning in tonight. Very much appreciated. Please like and share the classes. You know, we're all about getting this message out so that we can get the kingdom right. My name is Shahada Math, and to my left,
Yasharahla.
Khan. And tonight, our class is going to be on relationships in Israel. It's a lot of, we're in captivity, and we'll be going through it. There's a one of the biggest issues that we have in Israel is our inability to communicate effectively with one another, right? So let's especially in marriage. So let's figure it out. Let's get into the scriptures and see how it's supposed to be, right? So let's get it started. Let's grab from me Sirach 25:1.
The book of Sirach, chapter 25 and verse 1. In three things I was beautified and stood up beautiful, both before God and men: the unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, a man and a wife that agree together.
So these are three things that the Most High is very pleased with, and he finds very beautiful, right? It's the unity of brethren, and what that looks like is brothers who are unified, brothers who are on one accord, brothers who are working in righteousness, building in righteousness, brothers who are working together, coming together, teaching together, building together. Because at the end of the day, this is all about building a kingdom. So if you got a brotherhood who is all about putting in that work and all about working together, using their gifts and their talents to work harmoniously with one another, that's a beautiful thing to the Most High. The Most High is concerned with us building a kingdom, so the ways that we go about doing that are beautiful to Him. The next is love of the neighbors, right? So neighbors being Israelites, your fellow Israelites. When you're able to deal with one another harmoniously in righteousness, when you have brothers and sisters that you can count on, brothers and sisters who you can depend on, brothers and sisters who hold you up when you need to be held up, and vice versa. That's a beautiful thing. When we're able to dwell together harmoniously, we're able to get along and build and strengthen these relationships, strengthen each other. That's a beautiful thing to the Most High, right? And the last thing is when a man and a wife that agree together. There's nothing more beautiful than a righteous marriage in Israel, where the husband and the wife are on one accord. It's a beautiful thing.
Like the Most High say, we supposed to be in order, and that would be perfect order right there. Us and our wives being in agreement. With each other. Not adverse to each other.
Con. It's important for the husband, for the man to be able to provide for his wife everything that she needs, so that she is able to provide for him everything that he needs, right? All in righteous order, and that's a beautiful thing, right? Grab for me Psalms 18 and 22. Proverbs 18 and 22.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, and verse 22. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of the Lord.
it is a beautiful thing. It is a gift from the Most High for a man to be able to find and take on a wife, right? Um, this is, you know, the men of Israel are tasked with building up a nation. We're tasked with teaching, where we are the providers, and this world doesn't make it easy. So one of the benefits is having the ability to take on a wife, and having a partner to be an aid and to be an help to everything that it is that the men of Israel have to do. Right. This is a gift. This is a good thing from the Most High, and it is the Most High showing us favor. When He provides us with a woman who is committed to doing her wifely duties, to be an honor to you and an honor to the Most High. Let's go to Genesis 2:24. So it's a good thing to be able to take on a wife. It's a good thing to be able to get married and have a righteous relationship. This is something that the Most High provides for us to help us get by in this world.
The book of Genesis, chapter 2, and verse 24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh.
So, a single man, once he leaves the house, right, and he is taking care of himself, it's still important for him to look out for his parents, to make sure that he's able to help them out where he can, to make sure that they're good. Along with building himself up, he should do what he can to make sure that he's able to provide for his parents, anything that he can, in righteousness, right? But but once he takes on a wife, that becomes his focus. That becomes his motivation, right? It's about um, being and dealing with his wife, and building up his their household. Um, he should hold him. He should hold her near and dear to him. She should be his priority. She should be. He should be dealing with her in a way which, you know, they are under one accord. If that means
Con.
teaching her, that means providing for her whatever it is that she needs to fulfill her duties. That's his priority. That's his motivation, right? Um, grab for me Sirach 36 and 24. It's
The book of Sirach, chapter 36, and verse 24. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession.
So this is something that you now own, right? This is something that you as a man, you as a husband, now you're responsible for. This is a possession. It's a property. This is like once you um, not to compare women to items, right? But it's like taking on a vehicle. Once you decide that you're going to purchase this vehicle, you're going to take ownership of this vehicle, or same thing with a house or whatever. It becomes your responsibility. It's your responsibility to make sure that it's fueled up. It's your responsibility to make sure that it's running clean and efficiently. It's your responsibility that it's reliable. It's your responsibility to make sure that you can count on it and depend on it. It's no one else's responsibility, right? There's no difference with a wife. Once you take on a wife, it's your responsibility to make sure, to ensure that you're providing an environment that she is able to fulfill her duties to you, her wifely duties. That's your responsibility. That's not something that you can put off on anyone else. Read.
Where no hedge is there, the possession is spoiled, and he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning.
Start from the top of 24 again, 36 and
Okay.
24.
He that getteth a wife begetteth a possession, a help like unto himself,
So
and
this,
a pillar of rest.
this is just like a man before he gets married, he's responsible for taking care of himself, right? Once he gets a wife, she is a reflection unto him, right? So it is her duty is to be that helpmate, to be the one who helps take care of the husband. And so it's on the husband to make sure that he gives her every opportunity to be his helpmate. Read.
Where no hedge is there, the possession is spoiled, and he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning.
It's so you wanna when you take on a wife, right? When you get married, you want to build an environment for you both to thrive. When you get done with work at the end of the day, you should be excited to get home to your wife. You should be, excited to get out of the world and get into your safe haven. Your wife should be your pillar of rest, not stress, right? She should be your support system. Your home should be somewhere where you can lay down all your burdens and be taken care of. It should be your sanctuary. It's like, going to, I don't know if you've ever been to the spa, but it's like going to the spa, right? You go, when you're at the spa, when you're paying people to pamper you and take care of you, you're not thinking about anything. You're not thinking about the stresses of the world. You're not thinking about, what it is that you have to provide for. You're just trying to relax and trying to allow the pampering to soothe you, to comfort you. It's the same thing with having a wife. That's what it should be like. If you're getting off from work and you're not excited to get home to your wife, then there's some things that you need to work on in your relationship, right? Let's go to Ecclesiastes 9 and 9.
9 and 9?
So your home should be, somewhere where you're overjoyed to get home to. It should never be a burden for you to walk through the thresholds of your home and be with your wife. Go ahead and read.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 9 and verse 9. Sit not at all with another man's wife.
Salakia. Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was a good one, too.
God. Yeah, you should. I mean, if you're not happy to see your wife, to get home to your wife after a long day at work, that's something that you got to work on. Go ahead and read when you're ready.
Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 9. Live joyfully with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of thy life, and thy vanity which he hath given thee under the sun. All the days of thy vanity, for that is the portion in this life, and in the labor which thou takest under the sun.
Marriage is supposed to be a beautiful thing, right? It's supposed to be something to look forward to. It's a gift from the Most High to help us endure in this world. It says, "Live joyfully with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of the life," right? So you're supposed to live joyfully with your wife. It's supposed to be a joyous thing to have this partner, to have this helpmate who you're spending the rest of your life with. This is something that the Most High has provided for us.
You could definitely see when when you see a man with a good woman, it changes his countenance. You know what I'm saying? You can see, like, man, something look different about you. You know what I mean? You're a little sharper, a little fresher, a little cleaner. You know what I mean? Because you're getting that little extra nurturing that you wasn't giving yourself. You know what I mean? And a woman, if she has the right man with her, you know what I'm saying, it's going to bring out the best in her. where, like you said before, that she can function and be able to please you, you know, the way she was created to be. You know, it's a beautiful balance when we both doing our jobs.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure everyone has experienced, that couple who, you can tell when things are good, and you can tell when things are bad, right? When things are good, they're happy. They're affectionate with each other, smiling. You know, it seems like everything is good, and you can tell when things aren't good. They're distant. They're not looking at each other. They're not really interested in being around each other. And at the end of the day, it's the responsibility of the husband and the wife to provide that environment, so that you can live joyfully with one another. Grab for me Tobias 8 and 7. It's a gift. Marriage is a gift. Marriage is, yeah, Tobit, Slakia. It's a gift. This is literally a gift from the Most High, for us.
Was that 8 and 7?
Yeah.
All right. I'm ready.
It's a gift for us because everyone wants to have a companion. Everyone wants to have someone that they can lean on, or that they can communicate with, that they can experience life with. Right. This is literally a gift from the Most High. Go ahead and read that.
This is the book of Tobit, chapter 8, and verse 7. And now, O Lord, take not this my sister for lust, but uprightly, therefore mercifully ordain that we may become aged together.
So the goal is not, for a man to take a woman out of lust, right? You don't want to, if the things that you are thinking about in marriage, you're excited about, having a woman that you can have sex with, having a woman who is going to wait on you hand and foot, having a servant who is going to please you and do whatever it is that you want. You might need to hold off for a little bit. You might need to get some more understanding before, entering into a marriage, right? Because you're not supposed to take a woman out of lust. Lust being fleshly lust also being, what you desire for yourself. A marriage is a couple. It's two people, right? And so it's important that both people in the relationship, both people in the marriage are getting fed spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically. It's important that both people are getting out of the relationship what it is that they desire and what it is that they need. So you need to make sure that you're not,
You definitely don't want to be moving just in the moment, because, this is a lifetime. Like you said, we want to get old together. This is
Right.
a lifetime commitment. It's not just for a season. So you want to make sure that she's thoroughly vetted, that you really know that this is who you want to lay down with, who you want to be with, because, once you're in, you're in.
you want to make sure that this is the man or woman that you can see yourself spending the rest of your life with, right? There are no ways out. Once you take this man or take this woman to be your husband or to be your wife, that's it. This is your life partner. This is the person that you're spending the rest of your life with. So make sure that you do your due diligence. Let's grab Hebrews 13 and 4. Because this is a gift, this is someone that, for the most part, it should be joyous spending your life with this person, your whole entire life, right? So you want to make sure that they're choosing someone who more often than not it can be joyous with. Go ahead and read that.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and verse 4. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have, For he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee.
Con. It says marriage is honorable in all, and the bed is undefiled, right? It's as we went over earlier, it's a beautiful thing to join together in marriage. It's a gift from the Most High. It is something that He is very pleased with, right? And it says the bed is undefiled. Whatever it is that you and your husband and you and your wife are doing to please each other, there's no issue with that. But it says, but whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge. It's beautiful and honorable in a marriage because what's happening in a marriage when you're dealing righteously with your spouse, what you're not doing is you're not out whoremongering. You're not out, turning the daughters of Zion into whores, and you're not out being an adulterer. You're not enticing other men to want to be with you as a woman who is already married, right? That is adultery. So it's a honorable thing to be in a righteous marriage. Grab Tobit 7 and 13.
The book of Tobit, chapter 7 and 13. Then he called his daughter Sarah, and she came to her father, and he took her by the hand and gave her to be the wife to Tobias, saying, Behold, take her after the law of Moses and lead her away to thy father and be blessed them.
So let's find out what this law of Moses is, right? We're gonna get to the bottom of what a marriage is in the Bible. Grab for me Exodus 22 and 16. There's a lot of debate that happens in trying to figure out exactly what dictates marriage, right? So let's get it right out of the Bible and reason with what the scripts say. Go ahead.
Book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 16. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife.
There are no excuses, right? Once a man takes a woman and goes in on her, she is now his wife. Once a woman lays down with a man, he is now your husband. There are no excuses. There's no, oh, well, we were drunk, or, oh, I'm going to just, repent. There's none of that. This is the law of Moses. This is marriage. Once you sleep together, you are then in a covenant, and you are then by law supposed to fulfill the duties of a husband and the duties of the wife, right? To death. This is now your life mate. Let's get another example. Go ahead and grab Deuteronomy 22 and 28. This is the thing, right?
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22 and verse 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin which is not betrothed, lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found. Then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her.
Say that again.
And she shall be his wife, because he has humbled her. He may not put her away all his days.
He hath humbled her. That means that she's his, and she is not fit for any other man, right? He can't put her away for the rest of his life. That's his life mate, right? When you lay together, that is marriage. That is marriage. There are no exceptions. It doesn't matter if her attitude is stank. It doesn't matter if he is a monster. You should have done your due diligence. You should have made sure that this is someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Once you commit that act, that's marriage, plain and simple. That is the law of Moses. That is the law of the Most High God. It's plain and simple there, right? Let's get another example. Grab Genesis 24. We'll read 64 through 67.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 24, and verse 64. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel.
This is how I want my wife to act when she sees me, right? What I imagine is like she was so excited that she jumped off the camel with ease, right? She lighted off the camel. It's like, when you see someone who's attracted to you and you want to get to know them, right? You kind of step with purpose, right? You move in a way that is very purposeful, right? That's how I want my wife to feel when she sees me. Go ahead and read.
For she had said unto the servant, What man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant had said, It is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all things that he had done. And Isaac brought her unto his mother Sarah's tent, and took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death.
So it says that Isaac brought her into his mother's tent and took Rebekah, right? And she became his wife. They had sex. There wasn't a ceremony. There wasn't a justice of the peace that was in the tent that proclaimed them husband and wife. When you sleep together, that's marriage. It's clear in the Bible. Like that is what marriage is.
Consummation.
It is the consummation of marriage. That's what makes it final. There's no exceptions. Once you sleep together, you are now married for life. Till death do you part. Let's get another example. Just so we're making it clear, right? Genesis 29 and 16. This is the story of Jacob, Rachel, and Leah. Go ahead.
The book of Genesis, chapter 29, verse 16. And Laban had two daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And Jacob loved Rachel, and said, I will serve thy 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. And Laban said, It is better that I give her to thee than I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days, for the love he had to her.
Jacob cared for Rachel and loved Rachel so much that those 7 years flew by. It was nothing for him to serve Laban for 7 years in order to get what his heart desired. Read.
And Jacob said unto Laban, Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I might go into her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast.
So it's a lot of times what will happen is you'll see this, people will see this and think that, this is something that has to be done for marriage. It's not. It's not a requirement. It's not a prerequisite. It's a joyous occasion, and so there are a lot of times where you have a feast to celebrate a marriage, but that's not a prerequisite. That's not a requirement. Go ahead and read. Salakia. Yeah, we're at 29 and 23. Yeah, you good.
23. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to him, and he went unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah, his maid, for an handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah, and he said to Laban, What is this thou hast done unto me? Did not I serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me?
So what happened was it doesn't really go into specifics of what had happened, right? But Laban gave his other daughter, Leah, to Jacob, and Jacob went into her. He slept with her, and they got married. And you know, Jacob, understanding the laws, didn't say, "I don't want her. Take her back. Rachel was the one that I wanted." He said, "You know, why did you trick me? You know, what's going on?" Go ahead and read. 26.
And Laban said, "It must not be so done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn."
So Laban gave the understanding that, which, you know, I don't know that this was the most righteous way to go about it, but he basically gave the understanding that is you're supposed to give, as a father, you're supposed to give away the firstborn daughter before the secondborn. Go ahead.
Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years. And Jacob did so, and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also.
So there we have it, right? Laban required that Jacob fulfill another 7 years in order to get Rachel, who he really loved and really wanted, and Jacob agreed. So he fulfilled those 7 years, and you know he got Rachel also. So this is another example of you know, sex being marriage, and it's also an example of you know, it is no sin to take on multiple wives. So you know, just clearing that up as well. Let's go
And another point,
you got it.
that you know, you got to think about it. You know what I'm saying? How many of us would wait 7 years, you know, to be with a woman? You know, take that much time. You know, that's just so how righteous this brother was. You know, and it just shows a lot
Con.
that he would wait, you know, additional 7 years after the first 7 years.
Right.
But basically, 14 years to have this woman.
Right. And you know, the thing that's important there is, like, they weren't sleeping together. You know, he wasn't able to enjoy her physically, you know, until he served these 14 years. That brother was diligent. You know, he knew what he wanted, and he didn't settle for anything less. He was patient and he was diligent. Go ahead and grab Corinthians 7 and 33. We're going to read 33 and 34.
First Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 33. But he that is married careth for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife.
Read that last part again, how he may.
How he may please his wife.
So it's important, you know, men, to understand that in marriage, it's not just about your wife pleasing you, but you also need to care about pleasing your wife. You also need to make sure that you're providing for her. You need to make sure that she's receiving everything that she needs and you know, desires within righteous reason, to dwell peacefully and to dwell in happiness. Go ahead and read.
There is a difference also between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman careth for things of the Lord, that she may be holy both in body and in spirit.
So it's important for an unmarried woman to bring herself up, to raise her, to take care of herself in a way that's pleasing to the Most High, right? So that she has an opportunity to become a righteous wife. You know, she needs to make sure that she's taking care of her body and her spirit. She needs to make sure that she's you know, following the commandments of the Most High. She needs to make sure that she's learning how the things that is required of a wife, right? Go ahead.
But she that is married careth for the things of the world, how she may please her husband.
So her goal was her her primary, what's the word I'm looking for? The thing
desire.
the thing that she is to concern herself most with is not how she should be pleased. It's not about how she should get what it is that she wants, but her desire should be how to please her husband. And hopefully she has a righteous husband who's providing everything that it is that she needs, so that she can fulfill her duty. That's her duty, is to please her husband. Her duty is to be a helpmate. Her duty is to be
And that's part of how she get to the kingdom, by how well she treats her husband.
right. Absolutely. She needs to make sure that she is the safe haven for her husband. She is that pillar of rest. Let's grab Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 11 and 8. Go ahead.
1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 8. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man.
The Most High took a rib from Adam and made Eve, right? And this is what this is saying. It's not that the man is derived from the woman, but it's the woman from the man. Read.
Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man.
The woman was created for the man. The woman is created as a helpmate, right? This is why Eve was created for Adam, because he didn't have a helpmate. So this is something that I want our sisters to understand, right? At the end of the day, you are created for your man. You are created to serve your man. There are things that a man can do that is not necessarily righteous or pleasing to the Most High for you to do, right? I started out saying that the most important thing is about building the kingdom, right? And so it's not a situation where I've heard the argument before where a woman can say, well, my husband did this or my husband did that or whatever, but if I did it, it's a problem, it's a sin. Well, yeah, you're not equal in that sense. If a man decides that he wants to flirt with another woman or deal with another woman, while that might not be the most expedient thing or the wisest thing, there is no sin there, right? But it is absolutely a sin for a married woman to entice a man that is not her husband. That's absolutely a sin. That's absolutely displeasing to the Most High. And just from a biological standpoint, right? I can't remember what the exact numbers are, but it's something like men can create enough sperm in 24 hours to repopulate the entire world, right? But a woman can only have one pregnancy at a time, and so the way that makes sense in that we are to be building up a nation, a righteous nation, right? Is if a righteous man has the ability to take care of and provide for his wife and other wives, and he is building up his family, his children in righteousness, so that their number one desire is to build up a kingdom and to obtain the promise that the Most High has given to us. There is nothing wrong with that at all. But this is something that only a man can do. Only a man has the ability to impregnate multiple women, right?
Yeah.
You got something?
Yeah, because definitely, like we were saying, we're in a lifetime situation, contract, covenant with our wives. But if she was to lay down with another man, that nullifies the relationship.
That's punishable by death. That's
Yeah.
adultery.
Yeah. But you can put her away at that point.
God,
You know.
absolutely. Yeah, so it's it's important to understand that at the end of the day, yes, it may not be the wisest thing, right? A man needs to be in a situation where, A, he's a righteous man, B, he has the ability to provide, for his wives. He has the ability to make sure that they are getting everything that they need and that the desire. He needs to make sure that he's giving them the time with him that they desire. He's giving them the teaching that they require.
And I think for most of us, that's just like really too much to even deal with.
Khan, it's really,
to be honest,
it's really tough in Babylon because this world is really it's really shaped against us. It's really formed in a way to keep us in this captivity, to keep us from being able to carry out these laws like the Most High has commanded us to do. It's this world is built up against us. It's built up to keep us in captivity. As long as we're not following these laws, statutes, and commandments, just like all the examples in the Bible. These other nations have the ability to rule over us and keep us in captivity. So yeah, it's not an easy thing to have multiple wives. In Babylon, it's against the law, right? They have laws against it, but it's not a sin to the Most High. It's something that if you're able to do it in righteousness, is pleasing to the Most High. Because at the end of the day, it's about building up the kingdom.
he said, "Be fruitful and multiply."
Absolutely.
And multiplication would actually be 1 times 2.
Right. It's about being able to build up righteous children who are all about getting the kingdom. But the thing is to do it with wisdom and to do it in righteousness. Grab for where are we at? Genesis 3:16.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 3, and verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee.
This is what the Most High, because of the sin of Eve, this is how the Most High dealt with the women, right? He said that in sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. Childbearing is going to be sorrowful. It's going to be painful. It's not going to be easy, and we can see that. It's painful for a woman to give birth. This is a punishment, if you will, for the sin of Eve. And the desire shall be to thy husband, right? A woman's desire is not, a wife's desire is not, what pleases her, but it's to please her husband, and he shall rule over thee. He shall take her as a possession and treat her accordingly and deal with her accordingly. So let's look at what it is to develop healthy relationships or marriages in relationships in Israel. Go ahead and grab Sirach 6 and 7, so we can see, what it is to ensure a healthy relationship. Go ahead.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 7. If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him. It's
important that we are proving not only our friends, but proving every relationship that we have, right? You want to make sure that first impression doesn't beguile you. You want to make sure that, because what people do is they put forth their best selves to kind of sell themselves, to this person that they've just met, to this person that you're developing a relationship. You want it to start out on a positive note. So people put their best foot forward. But it's important that you're diligent. It's important that you take your time, you be patient, you be diligent, you be discerning. That's something that we really need in Israel. So pray on that. Pray for discernment. It's important that you really prove this person, and don't be hasty or don't be quick to decide that this person is who they've shown themselves to be, right? Because we all put our best selves forward. So you want to make sure that you're having conversations with this individual. You want to make sure that this is someone that you can see yourself with for the rest of your life. You want to talk about what it's like to raise children in righteousness. You want to talk about financial things. You want to talk about what it is that you need emotionally and what it is that they need emotionally. You want to talk about how you upkeep yourself physically. What it is that you need mentally. So it's important to prove this person. It's important to have these discussions so that you're on the same page, so that there are no surprises, so that you don't get into a situation which you didn't know what you didn't know, and those things that you now have found out are deal breakers, right? Because once you lay together, you're married and you're with this person for the rest of your life. So it's very important that you prove them, and you take your time and you be patient. Grab Sirach 37 and 27.
The book of Sirach, chapter 37, and verse 27. My son, prove thy soul in thy life, and see what is evil for it, and give not that unto it.
So it's also important that you prove yourself, right? What this is talking about is making sure that you understand who you are, you understand what it is that you need, you understand what it is that you can handle, you understand what you can deal with and what you can't. You have an understanding of your expectations and what is a deal breaker and what is not a deal breaker for you. It's important that you know yourself well enough that you can communicate your needs, your desires, your wants, and your deal breakers to this other person. That you're hoping to or wanting to spend the rest of your life with. Just like it's important for you to prove them, it's important for you to prove yourself. It's important for you to know yourself well enough to be able to provide an accurate account of who you are. Let's go to Hebrews 13 and 16.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and 16. But to do good and to communicate, forget not, for with such sacrifices God is well pleased.
The Most High is well pleased with effective communication. There are times where you're in a situation where you're letting your emotions get the best of you. Some men have a tendency to be lions in their house, right? They get upset, they get to a point where they're frustrated, and now they're roaring. Now they're yelling and they're commanding. I am the head. You have to listen to me. What I say goes. And while this isn't necessarily a lie, this is an effective communication, right? It's the Most High is pleased with good communication. So in order to communicate effectively, it's about making sure that you're communicating in a way that your message is received well. So it's important that you understand your partner well enough to know how to get through to them. It's important that you keep your emotions in check. It's important that you communicate with wisdom and with knowledge. It's important that you communicate it in a way where your partner isn't shutting down, and your partner is actually listening to you. Right? It's important that you listen. Right? And you actually listen to hear and to understand, not just to rebut what's being communicated, right? It's important to have good communication, and a big part of that is figuring out a way to communicate your message that it can be well received.
Can I bring out the definition of communicate?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I know when you say you got to understand it's not just one side of the situation.
Right.
Communication is both of you guys being able to, exchange, exchange information, news, or ideas. The prisoner was forbidden. I don't need to read that. But it's shared information. It's me speaking to her. She's listening. I'm speaking back to her. We communicate. You know what I mean? It's not a one-sided conversation.
Absolutely. It doesn't serve anyone if you're saying things and they're not being heard. If you're communicating things and they're not being understood, it serves neither party. So just like it's important for a man not to be a roaring lion in the household, and to deal with his wife with patience, with long suffering, with care, with respect, it's just as important for the wife to do the same thing. It's important for the wife to understand that when she sees her husband getting frustrated, when she sees her husband start to get more upset, and start to kind of act out, to take a step back and to say, what is it that I am doing that is contributing to making my husband more upset? Do I need to listen better and talk less? It's important that both parties really truly have a desire to hear and understand each other. You have two ears and one mouth, so it's twice as important to listen as it is to talk. And at the end of the day, because the man is the head, after all the reasoning, what he says goes. And so if it's a thing as a wife that you don't agree with, or you don't feel is the wisest decision, it doesn't matter. That's the decision that's made for the household. So you have to go along with it. And you can pray to the Most High and ask the Most High to provide your husband with wisdom. But hopefully, with some imparted wisdom, with some experience, better decision making can start to happen, right? But it's not your place to tell your man or to dictate what's going to happen in the relationship. He's the head, he's the lead. Hopefully he deals reasonably, but that's how it is per the scriptures, per the Most High. At the end of the day, it's his word. Where are we at? 1 Corinthians 7:3.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 3. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence.
Benevolence is affection, it's emotion, it's a love, it's this is something that a husband is supposed to render onto a wife, right? So what that looks like is if your wife is pleasing to the husband, if she's moving in a way that where she's taking care of the household, she's fulfilling her duties and responsibilities as a wife, then you can't deal with her harshly. If she wants to cuddle up next to you, lay on you, lay under you, that's her due benevolence. That's something that you should provide for her. Women desire affection. Women desire connection. They desire, closeness. And if they're fulfilling their role in the relationship, then that is something that you as a husband not only should be willing to impart to them, but you should want to. You should want to give them what it is that they need in order to feel close and connected in the relationship, right? And likewise, go ahead and read.
And likewise, also the wife unto the husband.
So the just like a wife is just like the husband is supposed to provide due benevolence, which is it's not a right. You have to earn it, but if she's earned it, she should get it. Same thing with the husband, right? Go ahead and read.
The wife had not power of her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband hath not power of his own body, but the wife.
Read.
Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent, for a time that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your
Incontinency. So basically what that's saying is you can't withhold the things from your spouse, from your partner that they need. Men and women have different needs in a marriage and a relationship, but there are needs, right? A man needs to be able to connect with his wife, and just like a wife needs to be able to connect with her husband. Women's needs are more emotional. They need to be held at times. They need intimacy. They need the touch of their husbands. They need kind words at times. They need thoughtfulness. They need to know that their man is thinking about them without being prompted. They need to be they need affection. They need to be they need to feel safe. They need to feel comforted when they need that. These are things that women need, and men also need to feel cared for, but differently. Men absolutely need sex. They need chemically how men bond with women is through sex, right? Through intercourse, there are chemicals that are released that foster a bonding for a man to a woman, right? And so this is one of the reasons why it's important for men to have that physical connection, right? And so it's important that if this man is fulfilling his duty as a husband, that his wife don't hold that against him, right? You don't want Satan to tempt you to be to not provide what it is that your partner needs. So if that takes fasting and prayer, fast and pray. But make sure that you're providing for your partner what it is that they need, because that's going to benefit you and it's going to benefit the relationship, and it's going to be pleasing to the Most High in the long run. Let's grab 1 Corinthians 11:3.
The book of Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God.
So I know this is probably the sisters probably one of their most favorite verses in the whole Bible, right? This is probably the one that they print out and they frame and they put up in their household. It is what it is. You know, this is how the Most High has ordered Israel. You know, it's the Most High, Christ, the husband, then the wife. This is the righteous order, and your feelings don't matter, your emotions don't matter. This is what it is, right? And so, regardless of how you feel, at the end of the day, your husband is your head. Just like Christ is the head, he's our king and he's our savior, your husband is your king. He is your provider, he is your protector, he's your everything. Let's grab Ephesians 5:22.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husband, as unto the Lord.
So that means always, right? There's no exception there. There's no, submit yourselves unto your own husband unless you don't like how he's treating you, unless you don't like what he's doing, unless you don't like the decisions that he's making, unless you don't like the attitude that he's coming at you with, unless you don't like, the words that he's saying to you or the ways that he's saying. No, none of that. It says, submit yourself unto your own husbands as unto the Lord, right? So ideally, you shouldn't be treating your husband any different than you would treat the Most High. If you wouldn't say it to the Most High, if you wouldn't say it to Yahushua, you shouldn't be saying it to your husband. If you wouldn't have that attitude with the Most High, if you wouldn't have that attitude with Yahushua, you shouldn't have it with your husband.
And I know submit, the word submit, kind of like if you really strikes a nerve with a lot of sisters because they feel like that's making them be weak. Something like that, when it's the contrary, you know what I'm saying? You're not, it's not making you weak by submitting to your husband. That's just being in order, and your husband, you allow him to lead,
One of the things that society has done and it's really funny, right? It's for the most part, it's only our sisters, right? Mm-hmm. This society has impressed on our sisters that strong, to be submissive is to be weak. To be submissive is kind of, selling out as a woman, is not fulfilling everything that you can be as a woman, right? If you are, if you submit to your husband, if you are pleasing unto him, if you do the things that are his desires, somehow you are less than. Somehow you are not fulfilling or achieving what it is, your full potential, right? This is the thing that the society has taught our women, right? You don't see this with other nations. You don't see, other nations from around the world. You don't see their women. Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of you're seeing a little bit more and more, right? But for the most, you don't see other nations having issues submitting to their husbands, right? Even here, you don't see Edomite women having issues submitting to their husbands. They go to work, they come home from work, and they're raising up their children. They're serving their husbands, they're cooking dinner. They're fulfilling their duties as a woman, as a wife, without any issue, right? But they have impressed on our women that is not something that they should want, right? Go ahead, you got it.
Yeah, because you never hear the term a strong Chinese woman, strong single Chinese woman, but we have that thing, a strong black woman.
Right.
And then it's the opposite because it's trying to switch these roles because you masculine. We have too much masculine energy coming from the women,
Con.
and we got too much effeminate energy coming from the men.
Con.
And it's definitely being promoted in that way.
And it's definitely being promoted to Israel, right?
Con.
And so the thing that I want our sisters to understand is you are absolutely being targeted. You are being made to be a weapon against Israel. You know, the thing that we need more than anything else is we need righteous relationships. We need this in order to build up the kingdom. We need this in order to obtain what it is that the Most High has promised to us. That is the kingdom. That is to be leaders and rulers of the world, right? But these other nations know that as long as we aren't keeping these commandments, they will be able to continue to rule over us, right? So it's just something that I want the sisters to understand that, like, you're being targeted. And don't fall for it. Don't fall for this idea that you have to be a strong, powerful black woman, that you have to make sure that, you know, no man is you know, ruling over you or telling you what to do. That's you know.
Bring out a scripture.
Come on, please.
And this is right here, you know, because we know we're under these curses, right? And it says, this is how our women used to be. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 56. It says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set her sole or foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward her husband of her bosom and toward her son and toward her daughter. Right? So this is part of those curses, you know what I'm saying? Our women are the most, you know, when they're in order, are the most beautiful, most delicate, most, you know, the essence of a woman, right? But due to these curses and due to this society, you know, we got a lot of masculine energy that we pushing out and feeling like the word submit or, you know, obey your husband gets misconstrued. You understand?
Absolutely. It's something that we really have to work on as a nation. It's something that you know, men need to understand and men need to be patient with, because you're not just overcoming that woman's will, but it's something that has been programmed into her through society. So, you know, when you have a better understanding of what is actually going on, hopefully you'll be able to handle it with wisdom and with patience and with long suffering. Where are we?
23.
Come
on. Ephesians 5 and 23. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body.
Christ.
Oh, go ahead.
You're good. So Christ is the head of the church, right? He's our king. What did Christ do? He taught us, you know, what it is that we are to do, right? He led the church. He led the people. He taught the people. And so as a husband, that is your duty. Your duty is to lead and rule the household like Christ led the church. Your duty is to make sure that you are leading your wife in righteousness. You're teaching her what it is that the scripture says. You're being patient. You're being long suffering, and you're pushing her to be the best righteous wife that she can be, and you're also, you know, allowing her to do that for you as well. Grab Sirach. Go ahead.
If you don't mind. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be their own husband in everything. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it.
So, you know, what it's saying is, as a husband, you gotta, you know, deal with your wife like Christ dealt with Israel. You know, Christ was incredibly patient. Christ was incredibly long suffering, right? Even as he was dying on the cross, he asked the Most High, um, you know, to what did he say? Basically, not to be too hard on Israel because they don't know they do not know what they've done, right? So it's important that as husbands, we are patient and we are long suffering. Go ahead.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 26, and verse 14. A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord, and there is nothing so much worth as a mind well instructed.
There is nothing. Hold that, and we're gonna go to Proverbs 31 and 26, but we're gonna come right back. There is nothing. For a woman who is teachable, who is humble, and who is coachable, that is an absolute blessing. When a woman is, this doesn't mean that a woman has to be silent and her opinion doesn't matter, and she can never speak how she feels, but be teachable, be humble, be coachable, be willing to learn, be willing to listen. This is a blessing. This is a blessing to your husband. This is a gift from the Most High. If you want to be a gift to your husband, be these things. Allow him to coach you. Allow him to teach you. Allow him to be your head. Go ahead and with that Proverbs 31 and 26.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 31, and verse 36. She opened her mouth with wisdom, and her tongue is the law of kindness.
So this is how you deal in righteousness with your husband. You speak in wisdom, and you speak in kindness. Just because you are speaking softly, you're not raising your voice, you're not being belligerent, doesn't necessarily mean that you're being respectful. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not being out of order. So it's important that as a wife, our sisters understand that, be malleable, be willing to be taught, be willing to listen. Women are emotional creatures. And so I feel like it's important for women to understand that because you have a tendency to move in a more emotional way, that's something that you need to keep in mind, especially when you're getting upset, right? Because emotion isn't necessarily logic. It's not necessarily reasonable. It's how you feel, and sometimes how you feel doesn't mean that you're right. So have that understanding, and if it's patience that you are asking for, then you should be willing to be patient. If you have a desire to be listened to, then listen. If you have a desire to be understood, then have a desire to understand, and vice versa with the men, with the husband. If you want to be listened to, then listen. If you want to be understood, then also have a desire to understand your wife, right? It's a give and take. Go ahead. We're going to go back to Sirach 26 and 16.
The book of Sirach, chapter 26, and verse 16. Is that what you said?
Con.
As the sun, when it arises in the high heaven, so is the beauty of a good wife in the ordering of her house.
So It's beautiful to watch the sunrise, right? It's a beautiful thing to see that sun peek over the horizon and start coming up and illuminating the land, right? It's a beautiful thing. It's just as beautiful when a righteous wife has her house in order. You know, one of the things that's attractive as men that men are attracted to is a woman who has herself and her household in order. If a woman appears like she has herself put together well, that you know she doesn't have a whole lot of drama or chaos in her life, that's an attractive thing. Yeah. So you as a wife, you want to make sure that you have your house in order. You want to make sure that your kids are in order. You want to make sure that the house is clean and tidy. You want to make sure that things are taken care of, that they're put away, that you know where things are, that you're not losing things. You want to make sure that um, everything is well kept, everything is tidy, everything is in order, and that's not just the household, right? You want to make sure that that's the case with your emotions. You want to make sure that that's the case with your health. You want to make sure that all around everything is taken care of. Everything is tight. Everything is orderly. Everything is decent. Like that is a beautiful, beautiful thing, right? Now let's deal with the husbands. Go ahead and read for me 1 Timothy 5 and 8.
The book of First Timothy, chapter 5 and verse 8. But if any provide not for his own, especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith, and is worse than an infidel.
He is worse than an unbeliever, right? That means that he's not going to get the kingdom. If you are not ready to take on the role of a husband, then you're not ready to get married. If you're not thinking, if you don't feel or you're not thinking about what it is to be the head of a household, what it is to be the provider, what it is to be what a woman needs from her husband. If the only thing you're thinking about is what you're going to get from this woman, then you're not ready to be a husband, right? If you're married and you're not providing the things that your household needs, then you're worse than an infidel. It's not pleasing to the Most High. You will not get the kingdom. So, as a husband, you need to make sure that you are doing whatever it is necessary to provide for your household, right? Just like with the wives, this doesn't mean just with the physical house, right? This means that you're providing nourishment, you're providing emotionally, spiritually, especially, mentally, and physically. You got to make sure that you're providing everything on every accord that is necessary in righteousness to lead that household. Otherwise, you're falling short, and you're not going to get the kingdom. You're not going to get salvation. Let's grab 1 Peter 3 and 7.
This is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 3 and verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife, as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered.
It says, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel. It says weaker. It doesn't say weak. It doesn't say that women are weak. Women are the weaker vessel, right? That's why the husband, the man, is the provider, right? He is
The protector.
He's a protector. He is physically stronger, because he isn't as emotional. Because men aren't as emotional as women, he is mentally stronger. He is able to withstand more mentally, and hopefully still be able to be in control of his emotions. He is spiritually stronger. He is supposed to be a teacher. He is supposed to be he is supposed to be built up in these scriptures. He's supposed to be able to provide scripturally. Um, these are the reasons why the men are the stronger vessel, right? But with that, um, husbands, you are to deal with your wives according to knowledge or wisdom, right? You are supposed to give honor unto the wife. You're supposed to understand that your wife isn't like your Akim, like your boys, right? You can't talk to your wife the same way that you talk to your brethren. Um, Women aren't men; they're different, and so you have to learn how to be able to communicate effectively with women. You have to use wisdom and understanding. You have to be wise and clever with your communication in order to reach your wife. Men and women communicate differently, and so it's important that you take the time to figure out how to tailor your message in a way that it is well received from your wife. It's kind of it's a skill that um, a lot of men don't take the time to develop, right? But if you take the time to really figure out how to communicate effectively with your wife, I promise you, it will benefit you both. It'll benefit the household, and you will have a happier life with your wife. So take the time to really figure out the nuances and the differences in how men and women communicate, and build up that muscle of being able to communicate effectively with your wife, with your life partner, because at the end of the day, this is the person that you're spending your life with, and this is pleasing to the Most High. Where we at? Grab Ephesians 5:25.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 25. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy, without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it, even as the Lord the church.
So it says, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church, right? The Most High died for the church. He died for Israel. He gave his life for Israel, right? So as a husband, you should be willing to give your life for your wife, for your children, right? This is how Christ loved Israel. It says, so ought men to love their wives as their own bodies, right? He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh. There's no man that hated his own flesh. If you are a man who is sensible, who is righteous, you take care of yourself. You take care of your body. You take care of your mind. You want the best for you, right? This is how you should treat your wife. You should want the best for them. You should take care of them just like you take care of themselves, because you understand what it is, the benefit that comes from taking care of yourself. It's the same way, the same benefit that you get when you take care of your wife, right? And this is how the Most High love your church. This is how the Most High loves us. So we want to make sure that we are taking care of our wives that we are treating them with the same care that we would treat ourselves, right? Let's go to this will be the last verse, Matthew 19:7.
The book of Matthew, chapter 19 and verse 7. They say unto him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away? He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning it was not so. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committed adultery. And whose marrieth her which is put away does commit adultery.
This is red letter, right?
Gone.
So this is Christ's words, right? So you may have heard that there are certain circumstances where a husband can put away his wife, right? But here we're seeing from Christ's own words that if you put away your wife for any other reason except fornication, right? And marry another, you're committing adultery. So there is no exception to put away your wife except for fornication, right? Except for breaking those laws of fornication. So you can't put your wife away because her attitude is stank. You can't put your wife away because she's not agreeable. You can't put her away because you've lost that loving feeling, right? You can't put her away for anything other than fornication. So anything short of that, you gotta figure out how to deal with her. You gotta figure out how to build your relationship in righteousness up, so that you are pleasing to one another, so that you can dwell together happily for the rest of your lives. There are no exceptions except fornication. So just so it's clear, there are no other exceptions or reasons that a man can put away his wife, right? So that's all we have for you tonight, Israel. I don't know if you have anything else. Good. So I hope this lesson was edifying. I hope it was pleasing. I hope it gave some understanding that was lacking. And all praise to the Most High. He continues to provide us with opportunities to bring His word out to Israel for edification, so that we can build up a righteous kingdom and get out of this captivity. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, and with that, we'll say shalom.
Shalom.